we are right now and what to expect. Taylor, thank you so much for being available this morning.
Of course, I'm happy to be here. What do you want to know?
So tell us first just kind of where we are right now. I mean, give us a 48-hour view of what happened and where we are today.
I mean, if you were sitting over there somewhere in the Middle East, I think you could close your eyes and imagine it looking much like 4th of July does here in America. It is a constant barrage of attacks, a constant barrage of missiles, and incredible defenses and offensive actions by our United States military. What they're doing over there is absolutely huge, but it is absolutely unprecedented for the region. For the fact that the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, some of these, Bahrain, are coming out and speaking out against Iran in support of a Western nation is very, very huge. And it really marks kind of what you said, a major turning point in the world and in international relations.
So it seems like the only group now, obviously, there's lots of noisy voices here in the United States, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But it seems like the United Nations are the only people that seem to be taking the side of Iran in this. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, if anyone has ever heard me on TV or radio, they probably think that I absolutely despise the United Nations, and they would be absolutely correct. They are the most feckless, useless organization. Any organization that allows China and Russia to sit on a Security Council, that allows Iran to have a voice on a Women's Council, that allows Saudi Arabia to chair a Women's Council, just has absolutely no validity and no leg to stand on. I mean, I would strongly urge the American people that if you hear anything that the United Nations says outside of the nuclear defense program models that they have and the programs that they have to deter nuclear war, I would just turn the TV off and turn the other way. You can really, really fact check them on a regular basis on just how much that they lie about. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, on the anniversary of the Iranian Revolution, and I do say that in air quotes because it certainly was not a revolution for the Iranian people, the Secretary General of the United Nations sent a letter congratulating the Ayatollah. I want you to really think about that. The United Nations, which is meant to prevent wars and promote human rights across the world, sent the Ayatollah, who had just killed suspected up to 30,000 of his people, maybe even up to 40,000, sent him a congratulatory note on the Iranian Revolution anniversary. That's crazy to me.
And what do you see as the opportunities here? Because a lot of people, and I have a very diverse family. I was up in Kentucky with my family, and I have a diverse political family, and so but I always get a lot of questions. People go because they know I do the research and all of that kind of stuff. But what a lot of people are concerned are this is going to be another Iraq where we end up involved for 20 years. I don't see it that way. I see it more like what we did in Venezuela, as opposed to neutralizing our enemies and putting China and Russia on notice not to get involved. Am I too naive about this?
No, you're exactly correct. The president and this administration have been really clear that they find forever wars to be stupid, and many people on the right completely agree with it, because the reality is those of us on the right are the ones who lose brothers and sisters overseas, because we, by and large, make up a larger demographic of people who serve in the United States military. So we of all, parties would sit there and say that we don't want a forever war because we're the ones that are most affected by it. But the president and this administration have been very clear that this is not an endless forever war. There are three major objectives here: destroy the missile programs, destroy the Navy, and make sure that there are absolutely no way that they can reconstitute nuclear weapons and threaten the West as we know it. Israel has their own mission as well, which we are supportive of. Secretary Hegseth and General Kane came out and talked about 20, 30 minutes ago about that, about what Israel's mission is. But we have our own mission, and the president has been really clear about that. But a lot of Americans need to I've talked to a couple of friends about this on the weekend. I too have a ton of friends all across the political spectrum. And one of the things that I keep telling them is, it is really, really hard for Americans to wrap their brains around this, right? Because like we prize in the United States multiculturalism, but we are really ignorant to the consequences of ideologies that may come with that multiculturalism. And so I really think that Americans need to wrap their heads around the fact that like just because another 9/11 has not happened here yet does not mean that this is not what was done to prevent that. And I think this unfortunate reality is that a lot of Americans need to see 9/11.2, in order for them to go, okay, well, now we can get involved. And the reality is that this is preventing that from occurring.
Hey, Taylor, this is Joni Alpert. I have a question for you. I understand that this war appears to be over there in Israel and all in the Middle East. Do I need to worry about sleeper cells here in the U.S.? And I'm especially concerned. My children are in New York. I'm Jewish. They go to a synagogue. What do I need to be worried about?
Well, I mean, I would feel a lot better in answering your question if the Democrats had funded the Department of Homeland Security right now during a time when we absolutely need the Department of Homeland Security to do their job. But it seems to be a priority of theirs to keep that unfunded for some reason. So, I wish I could tell you that I have full confidence that everyone would be safe. I think long-term strategy, taking out the Iranian regime, the Islamic regime, is the correct move. It is the safer strategy for America as a whole. But I really, if it was me, I would be vigilant over the next couple of weeks. But it's not just New York and Washington, D.C., right? Like I live in Washington, D.C. I'm also from Texas originally, and I would have never thought that a bar on 6th Street would be a target for a guy wearing a Property of Allah shirt, And so I'm not trying. Americans do not live with fear. That is not in our fabric and in our makeup. That is not who we are as a people. We are bold. We are empowered. We do what we want to do no matter what anyone tells us. But just be vigilant, be vigilant of your surroundings and understand that the ODNI office, Joe Kent and his team is doing really, really good work on this and in identifying people who have come in across our border who do not need to be here. And the Department of Homeland Security and FBI and all of our intel agencies do good work. And so American people who shout about ICE and who shout about, wanting to be able to keep everyone in this nation because you have access and the freedom to live here no matter who you are and America is open. That's not true. And there are absolute consequences to that. And additionally, just because you guys are in Georgia, I'd love to bring this up that, bad foreign policy does have lasting consequences. And, a lot of Americans aren't able to remember back to the Jimmy Carter era and 1979 and why this revolution happened. And in large part, it happened because the Carter administration was really pressuring the current Shah to really put pressure on the human rights infrastructure and building that up in that region, and because of his relationship with the Shah. And when that failed, he really showed a lack of support for the Shah and just kind of told him to abandon ship and grant asylum into the United States, which is when we got the first Ayatollah Khomeini, who was seeking refuge in France after he was ousted from Iraq. And so 47 years later, you see the consequences of horrific foreign policy from President Carter, that it had lasting effects that are now ending in the result of up to 4 American soldiers so far having been killed into an attack. And so these decisions have consequences.
Absolutely, Taylor. And it does seem this turning point that this event I think is going to be really started with that meeting last June where the president went and he talked about, I'm not trying to change your countries. I want to prosper with your countries. You have a different way of living. That's fine. We want to be prosperous with you. And only prosperity comes through peace. And that's
100%.
what they're trying to do. And I think that opened up a huge door for these more moderate Muslim countries, okay, that are now standing with us, to be able to move into the 21st century. And then, go ahead.
We laid the groundwork for this, right, with the Abraham Accords during the first Trump administration. And I actually grew up in the United Arab Emirates, and so I was really happy to see the Abraham Accords happen. A lot of people don't know this, but when you used to live in those nations overseas, if you wanted to go to Israel, you had to have a separate sheet put in your passport so that it could be removed, because you were not allowed to travel back and forth.
That's right.
From the GCC nations to Israel. And so a lot of that disseminated with the Abraham Accords. So really the first Trump administration laid the groundwork for these conversations to be happening so that we weren't in an all-out crosshairs fight. I mean, Saudi Arabia, Iran is the number one sponsor. The IRGC and the Ayatollah and the Islamic regime is the number one state sponsor of terrorism around the world. So the Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas and Gaza, they do fund over 90% of their terroristic activities. But Saudi Arabia was an ally for Iran in the region for forever. They were the ones that were kind of keeping the water stopper in, keeping the floods from coming in against Iran for the rest of the region. And now even Saudi Arabia is going, sorry, buds, we're not going to protect you anymore because you did this and you brought this on yourself.
Absolutely. If people want to know more and get more information, how can they find it? What's the best place to find it?
Oh my gosh, I am a Twitter, I guess it's called X now. I follow so many things on Twitter and X, but I think the group that is doing the best work on the Iranian and MENA issues and anything in the Middle East is the Foundation for Defending Democracies. Benem Ben Tablu is great. He is so smart about some of this stuff. So I would follow FDD on X.com. I'm not affiliated with them by any means. I just love their coverage. They are so smart. AEI has great people on this topic. Mark Thiessen is great on this topic. And so there's a lot of really, really good places or people to follow at AEI and at FDD that I would strongly recommend. And also, finally, I would consider following Independent Women. That's the organization that I work with. I'm a national security fellow there. I just wrote an article with EV Magazine, or in partnership with EV Magazine, about the women in Iran and how without the women in Iran, you would not have seen the protests happening. And so I would love for you guys to check that out and let me know what you think.
Thank you so much, Taylor Hathorn, for being with us today. Appreciate it very much.
Happy to.
Thank you. We'll take a break.
Real-time news lives in your pocket.
You can rely on it.
Keep up with your community. Download the AccessWDUN.com app today. Powered by North Georgia's News Talk. AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Looking for a mower that's built to last? Step up to Cub Cadet. At Howard Brothers, they carry the full line of Cub Cadet, delivering the power and performance you expect and need when mowing. And here's what really sets them apart. When you buy from Howard Brothers, you're not just buying a Cub Cadet mower, you're getting trusted service and support long after the sale. Don't buy your Cub Cadet just anywhere. Buy it where you can service it. Howard Brothers.
Hey there, it's Cody Lovin, owner of Crawl Space Medic. Is your crawl space giving you trouble? Maybe it's moisture, structural issues, or even foul odors? Don't worry, my team and I, we've seen it all. At Crawl Space Medic, we specialize in crawl space repairs, encapsulations, and basement waterproofing, ensuring your home's foundation stays solid and protected. We're all about delivering top-notch service you can trust with solutions that last. Give me a call at 706-410-2400 or visit crawlspacemedic.com for a free evaluation.
You already know Gainesville Mechanical for their award-winning HVAC service, but did you know they handle plumbing too? Because plumbing problems never happen at a good time, you need a trusted, experienced team there when they do. From small leaks to major repairs, Gainesville Mechanical is here for you with 24/7 no overtime rates through their Customer Assurance Maintenance Plan. Proud to be named Best of Hall for HVAC and plumbing, Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep North Georgia cool since 1989.
You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion. That's billion with a B. Yeah, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words micro. That's pound 250, micro.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, Gainesville's Lakeview Academy is preparing to take on a new lower school director to start the next school year. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical, from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Viewed it last night watching it is that they gave a middle finger to the oath of office that they took. In fact, their new oath of office is oppose Trump. On anything, on any situation, the one thing that they seem to want to come together on is to oppose Trump. Trump could find a cure for cancer and they would find a reason to disagree with it. Yeah. And I don't know if that is just their strategy to get them through the midterm or whatever, but I think that if it's just about opposing Trump, I don't think that the people that elected them sent them there to do that. Number one, it is about the American people first. You got to take care of
it. Is the Martha Zoller Show. I'm here with Joni Alpert. And that was a Democratic voter after the State of the Union. And African-American women are the most loyal group to the Democratic Party. So if they are losing African-American women too, excuse me, they got a problem. But that was recorded before we knew about Iran. And where I've heard the opposition, Joni, and you asked me that in the break, where I've heard the opposition is among, it's a faction of America First Republicans, okay, that think that this is not right. America First. Yes. And then it's a faction of the usual suspects on the Democratic Party. Now, what we are also seeing, though, this happened in London, but it also happened in New York, in D.C., and in Los Angeles, where Jewish communities, Iranians, and American flags are all together protesting. Now, this was in London, in the Jewish neighborhood in London, but it's happening all over the country, and they're doing the YMCA dance. Let's play this.
You join me on Golders Green Road, where the noise is really loud. Literally thousands of Iranians have come from across London, their communities in Finchley, and also coming up from the West End of London. This has been going on for about 2 hours right now. It's likely to continue for the next couple of hours. Quite extraordinary. The reason why they've come to the heart of the Jewish community is because the Iranians very much supported Israel in their war against Hamas, which of course is backed by the evil Revolutionary Guards and of course the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Now they see that the Israelis and the Americans have made a preempted strike against the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who is now reported to be dead. And thousands are coming down to Golders Green to show their solidarity with the Jewish community.
So this happened all over the UK, where they had to change their position. They first weren't going to get involved. Now they are going to help. And then in our country, in New York, in D.C., in Miami, in Los Angeles, they had huge groups of Iranians, Jews, and American patriots come together with all three of those flags. I mean, when would you ever have thought you would have seen those three flags together in a peaceful protest over something? I mean, something is happening here.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. I think they realize the cruelty.
What if Israel became an ally of Iran, and as Van Jones said, the Persians got unleashed again? Because many of the great discoveries in our history were done by Persians. It's crazy.
It would be a miracle. It would be an absolute miracle. And I'm shocked that Iran hit Dubai and Qatar and all these places. And I'm sorry they hit them, but I'm happy because they're all going to be unified and they're all going to join together and going after Iran. I think it's wonderful that there's this solidarity against one evil person.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's always unpredictable anytime you go into a military action. Things can happen that you don't plan on. All those sorts of things. Like there was a friendly fire incident where a fighter jet of ours was shot down by, I think it was, I don't want to give the wrong country, but it was one of the countries that are on our side about this.
Right.
But the pilot ejected. Fortunately, was taken care of on the ground. Everything's fine. But those kinds of things are going to happen. Yes. And it's always unpredictable when you go to war about something. But I still think this is more of an event like we did in Venezuela, even though it's going to last a little bit longer. I think 2 to 4 weeks we'll be out of this. I hope so. And it will be a better day. I know so many Iranians that are so joyful. In my circle of people that I know that are Iranian, they are very happy today.
Yeah, it's very exciting. They have a chance of living a normal, joyful life, and that was not on the table before.
Well, and you look at all these Arabic countries before they became radicalized, and the countries were very open, and the women looked like Western women and all that kind of stuff. And then, we've been through this dark nightmare for the last 47 years, and it needs to end.
Yes, it does.
Joni, thanks for a great half hour. We're going to talk to Macy Ruthledge next and bring it back a little closer to home. We'll be back.
I'm Frank Norton with the Norton Agency. Success is intertwined with life on Lake Lanier. We grew up on the lake and understand its unique real estate dynamics. We've sold more shoreline than any other real estate firm. We're Lake Lanier natives, specialists, and above all, advocates for the needs of our clients. Norton, now more than ever. Call us at 770-532-0022 or look for us on the web at gonorton.com. Our family serving North Georgia for 4 generations.
Hi, this is Cal Cooley with Electronic Sales Company, and joining me today is Charlie Bramwell, Director of Interactive Neighborhood for Kids, better known as Inc. around here. When we help move your burglar alarm, fire alarm, cameras, and all the other things, I had no idea how impressive and big Inc. has become. Where's your new location?
We moved to Oakwood, center of Oakwood.
Got anything special coming up?
Yes, sir. We have several new exhibits coming in within the next month or two. The Department of Transportation is putting in some roads for us. We're talking to the FAA about bringing some monitors in so kids can actually see real-life flights. We have an extremely nice train exhibit. And yesterday, we was donated a train console from an actual train. We're going to refurbish it and put it next to the train exhibit so kids can actually be the train conductor and move levers and valves.
I am so excited. Everybody, you need to go down there to Inc. in Oakwood.
Your community partner in protection, Electronic Sales Company. See them today online at electronicsalesco.com.
Get breaking news fast. Sign up at accesswdun.com for breaking news alerts via text. Log on to accesswdun.com for details and to sign up. You can also sign up to receive local weather and sports alerts. Get the news first with breaking news text alerts from Access WDUN and North Georgia's News Talk. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 9:30.
Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. A 4th U.S. soldier has succumbed to injuries from Iran's response to U.S. Operation Epic Fury. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says U.S. soldiers are battle-scarred from 47 years of war by Iran.
We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
As NATO Secretary of General Mark Rutte comes out in staunch support, telling Fox.
Taking out Khamenei, taking out the nuclear capability in Iran, but also taking out the ballistic missile program in Iran. This is crucial. And what I see in Europe, I spoke with all the key European leaders over the weekend, is widespread support for what the president is doing.
As the Arab states defend against Iran's aggression and new Hezbollah strikes, 3 U.S. warplanes shot down by friendly fire from Kuwait. They ejected safely. The Congress Gang of 8 to be briefed late today. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
WDUN. From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. Today's the deadline for applications to the City of Gainesville and North Georgia Community Foundation's annual scholarship program, as the process for the 2026 Gainesville Chicken Festival Scholarship is open until 5 p.m. and is available to high school students who are aspiring for a career in the poultry field. Details on the scholarship and links to the application can be found at Access WDUN. Lakeview Academy in Gainesville set to take on a new lower school director, as WDUN's Lawson Smith reports.
The private school announced on Friday that Pam Doig will take on the role for the 2026-27 school year. Doig replaces Mary Steensma, who is retiring after serving in the position for 5 years. Doig comes to Lakeview from the Hall County School District, where she served in various capacities, including as principal of Waka Mountain Multiple Intelligence Academy and McEver Arts Academy.
And the Hall County School District and Gainesville City Schools teaming up with community partners to host an event that's aimed at empowering high school students through wellness, leadership, and connection. The Thrive and Connect Teen Summit takes place March 10th at UNG's Gainesville campus. Registration is free and now open on a first-come, first-served basis, with a link to register and more news found at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN Monday forecast.
Good Monday morning, North Georgia. Mostly cloudy skies continue. Highs later in the low 60s. We'll have more mostly cloudy skies tonight. There's just a slight chance of a rain shower. Mid 40s by early Tuesday. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
Right now in Demarest, 57 degrees, in Winder, 58, and in Gainesville, 57. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550. And FM 102.9, WDUN.
Some car dealers want to sell you a car. At Hardy Chevrolet, we'd rather help you find the vehicle that's right for you. This is Mike Cormier. We call it the Hardy Chevrolet difference. Since you're the one who will be in the driver's seat of that new Chevy, we think you should be in the driver's seat when it comes to making the selection. It's like Charles Hardy always said.
We love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Browns Bridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
United We Run for those struggling to make ends meet. Join us Saturday, March 21st at 9 a.m. as we race through Phase 2 of the scenic Highlands to Islands Trail. This event features a 5K and 1 mile fun run with every step supporting United Way of Hall County's One Hall United Against Poverty initiative. Make an even bigger impact by becoming a sponsor. For more information and to register, log on to unitedwayhallcounty.org/race.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Mr. President, it's an honor to be here today, and it's an honor to be speaking with you guys. My name is Ethan Carreri. I'm a police officer in Palm Beach County, Florida, and a former New York City police officer. While serving the New York City Police Department, I personally arrested Jose Ibarra for endangering the welfare of a child. A few months later, I saw his face again in the news after he viciously murdered Laken Riley. I did my job. I put him in custody. The system failed. No detainer, no accountability, no deportation, and an innocent American life was taken. If you enter our country illegally, there will be consequences under this administration. The American citizens must always come first. To Laken Riley.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and Joni Alpert's here with me today, and also Macy Ruthledge. And I just thought that was so chilling, that particular, when the president had this gentleman, this police officer, come up and talk about this, how Jose Ibarra had been detained in New York and had been let go. And we have so many stories of that. And, you know, I know how the left wants to say, oh, well, there are American citizens that do these kind of crimes too. That's true. And when that happens with American citizens, that's wrong too. If you have taken somebody in custody and you let them out because they didn't steal enough or they didn't do enough bad things or whatever the reasons are in your sanctuary cities of why you don't want to hold anybody in jail, it's just as bad. But what makes the cases like Rachel Marin or Laken Riley different is that had these people been dealt with appropriately by the law enforcement system, they would still be alive. And that's what this guy was trying to tell this story. And hooray to him for being willing to tell that story, because he will be marked by certain people because he spoke up about this. Now, Macy, it's so good to have you here. You're one of my favorite people, and I love the work that you do. Remind people your organization, because we've met through a lot of different umbrellas.
Yes.
Because you're involved in a lot of great things.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me too. You're one of my favorite people.
Thank you.
I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
And my organization is Elizabeth Sun Designs. And I do have some other things in the works right now that came about after this event that I'm excited to kind of share with you guys as well. But right now it's Elizabeth Sun Designs, and it's just doing the Lord's work, you know. I didn't know that this was mission work until I got back here after Africa in the fall. I thought that I'd be out there for a while doing mission work like you would tend to, typically see when someone's like, oh, I'm a missionary. They're usually overseas. And,
Oh, no, there's a lot of mission work at home.
Yes. And so God brought me back here, and I just feel like these are different missions that he's been putting me on. And it's expanded my thought process to what mission work can be here in our own country.
So, Joni, I met Macy first because she was helping to organize some events around the death of Charlie Kirk at the University of Georgia. And she got involved helping out with those. And, when my children were growing up, we always went on mission trips through church, and a lot of them were overseas. But I got to tell you, the ones that impacted them the most were two in particular. One was when they went to Orlando and built ramps for old people that lived in the shadow of Walt Disney World, the happiest place on earth. But there's actually a lot of poor people that live around Walt Disney World and that are elderly. And to be able to build a ramp and let an elderly person come out of their house for the first time in 2 years as a 15-year-old, it makes a big impact, because they had no idea there were people that didn't have everything they needed in their own country, because we live a pretty good life. And we always tried to make sure our kids were aware of homelessness or aware of other things. But the other trip was a trip to an Indian reservation in Mississippi, because my kids really had never seen that kind of poverty before. And they just couldn't imagine that people in the United States of America lived in that kind of poverty. And so we've got to not only open up the eyes of our children and the people around us, but we've got to keep our eyes open. And I think that's one thing, Macy, that you bring, is that you're always looking for the opportunity. So tell us first about the Laken Hope Riley event that happened around the anniversary of her death. And I know you got a little pushback on it being called Run for Your Life, but I think it was totally appropriate. Tell us about that, and then what's happening now.
Yeah, so I felt God put it on my heart to make it about the things that she loved, that Laken loved. And we know that she loved running and she loved Jesus.
And you worked with the family.
Yes. So I reached out to the Laken Hope Foundation, and her sister responded and was like, yeah, I think this is a God thing. I want to do something. They're still going through all of that. I mean, it's been 2 years, but they really wanted to do something for her. Although it is, I've never done anything like this before for a family, a memorial service of any sorts. But I know that, as Christians, that she's in heaven, Now she's changed her address. And so it's a celebration of life. She made it. She finished her race. And so we really wanted to encompass that at this event too. So it was a 5K, a memorial 5K at 8 a.m. And then it was followed by a service. And, I say I organized this, I did this, but I'm not this clever. It was certainly God through this whole thing. His hand was on it, because the way that it turned out was so cool in my eyes. I've never seen anything happen like this, where it hit all aspects. It was physical with the 5K race. And then we had the emotional side, the tie, where it hit home for the family. So her sister spoke. Her parents actually spoke a little bit after the 5K race as well. They ran the 5K. And then after that, we had the political aspect of it, the civics of it.
How to get involved.
Yes, yes, exactly. And what was happening, the action that was taken behind it. Like, that's something that I think that we really have missed in our country, is that we have all these things that have happened, and then it could be emotional, it can be physical, but you do need to get political. You do need policies in place so that that doesn't ever happen again. And then we had the spiritual aspect of it and the principles that we pull our political sides from. So then we had the pastor of New Grace. He came out, Derek England, and he spoke about his sermon that inspired the name of the race. And run for your life, meaning run towards the cross and do not get distracted. Keep your eyes on Jesus. And so with all four of those pieces, it just tied everything together with run for your life. And I just see how God really worked through all of that. And I don't think we would have gotten the press that we did if the name wasn't called that. We had 607 signups for the 5K. And
that's really good.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was mostly students. I think 75% of the race were UGA students.
But don't you think that event, I mean, when I was at UGA, there was a death of a student, and that impacts you a lot, especially because it seems like it's always women. I mean, I don't want to be, like it's always women that end up in these situations. And at the time I went to college, women were in a minority at the University of Georgia. That's not the case anymore.
Right.
But they were in a minority. So you were always worried, because I didn't think anything about walking around at night. I thought it was totally safe all the time.
Exactly. My daughters went to UGA and they ran the path that Laken ran. And I guess I'm naive because I never worried about them there in Georgia. It just seems so safe. And I want to know how that criminal got to the campus, and wasn't his brother working for UGA?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is so creepy. And the fact that he was let off and he had priors, it's just very sick. And I'm especially upset with a lot of the Democrats who want to bury this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to keep her name front and center along with the other young women who were murdered.
And children.
And children that were murdered. And they don't want this. They won't even stand up for these people. At the State of the Union, they just want to sweep this under the table. This never happened.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Quite frankly, I'm over it. Like, you have to see it now. And the one thing that we have seen in media and the comment sections is like, this family doesn't want to make it political, and stop saying this, or stop trying to use her name, or stop saying her name, or why do you keep saying her name? And it's like, that is their way of trying to shut this up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's like, no, we're going to continue to say her name. And they do. They want policies in place so that this doesn't happen to another person. And that takes politics. That takes getting into the thick of the things that people don't want to. Like me, myself, I don't want to, but we have to.
So what has come out of this for you?
Yes, that's a great question. I think more than anything, honestly, the people that I got involved with that helped organize this, it was a lot of students who jumped on board. So we have multiple organizations that collaborated on this. So, I mean, we have, the church. We have a couple different churches that were helpful in this. And then we also have Turning Point, the UGA chapter that they helped. Their team helped. YAF is the one who hosted this with me, which is Young Americans for Freedom. And then we had a Christian conservative group that just got started at UGA. They were also a part of this as well. So you can kind of see, like, when stuff like this happens, that it is pulling together the Christians that are wanting to get more involved in the conservative outlets. And so for me, getting to know all of those students, and then the community side that also believes what we believe and can see what we see, they all got to come together and felt safe on campus to be there and share their belief or stand for what they believe in without being scared on campus like they typically are. So that, first and foremost, was one of the most beautiful things out of that. And, God being glorified in the midst of the rain that happened too. And now that this has happened, it has struck a chord with a lot of the students, and they want to be more involved. They're like, what are we going to do next? Like, how do we do this again? and they feel safe. They feel like they have like a posse now, you know, they have like a group of people that they can lean on.
Well, and I think it tends to, like, I was always a rule follower. You know, I always colored within the lines. I followed all the rules, you know, did all that kind of stuff. And I would have never been a person that would have showed up at a protest or even a gathering. You know, I'm a work from the inside kind of person. That's just my personality, and that's how I do things. And what has happened is, you know, a lot of people like us that were more conservative, more religious, whatever, we just thought, well, we'll just be quiet. We'll just be quiet. And, you know, God's got this, you know, and God does have this. I mean, God, I'm not worried about that, okay? I mean, at all. But what I do know is that you got to give people outlets. It's funny because I've been asked to speak at a Sunday school class in April because they had a professor up at UNG come and speak to them. His name's Matthew Bodie, I think, and he has written this book about Christian nationalism, and he was not a fan at all of Charlie Kirk. And ironically, he weaseled his way onto my show after Charlie Kirk's death by kind of pitching me this idea that made it sound like he was more, not necessarily positive about Charlie, but had something to add to the discussion. And then it turned out he was just going to turn it into this Christian nationalism discussion, whatever it is. And I kind of called him on it. I said, look, you presented yourself as X and you're coming on here as Y. And so we're not going to do this anymore. So fast forward a few months later, I get asked to do come to my Sunday school class at my church and do a point counterpoint. I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. I said, and I'm not even going to answer point by point what he said when he spoke to the Sunday school class. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with the D-Day prayer that Franklin Roosevelt did. I don't know if you haven't never heard it, you should listen to it.
Okay.
It's about 6 minutes long, but it's about, you know, it's a guy, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the liberal's liberal, talking about how important faith is in America and how we need to do that. And then we're going to talk. And what my typical way of approaching things is I will talk for a few minutes and then I open up to questions. And I let people ask me any questions that they want to ask me, even if it's not on what I'm talking about. And I think that creates a transparency and an openness and that kind of thing. Because I don't even understand what Christian nationalism is, whatever that is. I believe that we are a country that's founded on the ability to have freedom of religion, and that the government is not supposed to establish a religion. But that does not mean we have to put up with anything that's put out there. And what's happened in free societies is that other faiths have come in and they're trying to use our freedoms against us.
Right.
And we've got to protect against that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's what a lot of the students are seeing too. Like everything you're saying, you're seeing this this click, and people want to get involved and study it too. Like I'm with this group right now that we are all learning more about the Constitution on our own time. Like it's actually something that we want to get more involved. We want to know more. And I think that's what someone has brought up is, you know, we are biblically illiterate. As Christians, we've relied on someone else to tell us about the Bible, and then our preacher has failed us about what that's going to look like as far as when it comes down to civics and how to be, you know, in involvement with government as a people, as a free society. And so now we're having to learn, and I think Charlie really, you know, he kicked that off, and that was something that opened my eyes. And now I'm like, I would never be reading the Constitution on my own time. I'm like, what is this?
I tell you what, if you need some help on that, Hillsdale College has got a fantastic free online Constitution course.
Yeah,
I've seen that. Yeah, which is great. I do a few right now. I'm doing a Jane Austen course with Hillsdale College, and I'm also doing an American history course just because, you know, all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I'm a lifelong learner, so it makes it fun. But if people want to know more about what you're doing, how can they find out?
You can follow me on Instagram. That's the best way. Macy Elizabeth Rutledge. We have something in the works that we're working towards getting a group together which I would love to talk to you about at some point too, moving from my 501c3 to a 501c4 to get more politically involved. And we've got an awesome board that's coming together to help make it turn a run for your life into this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.
We'll take a break and then we'll be back.
When you need news anytime, day or night, get it from the source that's been delivering local news digitally for a quarter of a century. Go with AccessWDUN.com and the Access WDUN app, powered by North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
You've got meals to plan, children to ferry from practice to ball games, shopping and dusting, and good grief. Give yourself a break and take your laundry to Townview Coin Laundry. Take your comforters, quilts, blankets, and mattress covers. They'll wash, dry, and fold your laundry, or you can use their industrial-sized machines. Townview Coin Laundry saves wear and tear on your washer and dryer and on you, too. Get the stains out at Townview Coin Laundry at the corner of Bradford Street and College Avenue in downtown Gainesville, open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
When you have a problem with your roof, you want someone who can respond quickly, but also who knows roofing. That's what you get at Georgia Select Roofing. This is Chris Earls, and we do roofing right. Estimates are free, we can help you navigate your insurance claim, and we also offer financing. Check out our Google reviews, and you'll see that Georgia Select Roofing offers the best service around. See us today at GeorgiaSelectRoofing.com or call us at 678-316-6899. Family owned and operated, Georgia Select Roofing has you covered.
What if I'm survived by a spouse with dementia or in a nursing home? Will they be protected? This is Kevin Tharp, elder law and estate planning attorney, and I've been helping people in your situation for over 35 years. And I can help you protect your loved ones when the time comes. But you need to make the first call. Visit my website at kevintharpwithane.com and learn how to get help planning for the future of your loved ones. That's kevintharpwithane.com.
Grab your golf clubs and join Georgia Mountain Food Bank on Wednesday, June 3rd for the inaugural Greens for Good golf tournament at the beautiful Legacy Golf Course at Lanier Islands. Enjoy a premier day of golf while supporting the food bank's mission to fight hunger across North Georgia. Early bird pricing is available now through March 15th, and sponsorships are open for businesses ready to make an impact. Learn more about sponsorships or register to play at gmfb.org. Let's tee off till no one is hungry.
Hey folks, Todd Starnes here. When it comes to keeping pests out of your home, Mark Turner at Select Pest Control has it figured out. As the name implies, you get to select whether you want their professional team to take care of those pesky pests, or if you'd rather do it yourself, visit their retail store on Brownsbridge Road in Gainesville. Since 1993, Mark and his great staff have offered professional service, products, and advice to North Georgia. Visit them online at selectpest.net, or better yet, stop by Select Pest Control today and tell them Todd sent you.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, Week 3 of testimony begins today in Barrow County Superior Court in the trial of Colin Gray. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical, from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
So how about we work together and say, hey, so scrap ACA, admit it doesn't work, admit you guys made a mistake, and let's work at something with President Trump to make affordable health care healthy and affordable for everybody. But there's zero chance you guys could do that. Zero chance. Yet everybody we bring up here, you guys chastise for trying to make changes. God forbid we change and go after and try to fix our broken system. Anyways, I ranted too long. Let's talk about some...
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask your opinion on that. And if I cared about your opinion, I would ask you, but I don't care about your opinion.
Well,
you're part of the system. You're part of the problem. You've been sitting here longer than I've even been alive. This is your problem. You should have fixed this a long time ago. You've been railing on it so long. What have you been doing?
I've decided not to run for Surgeon General. You're the nominee. I've decided not to accept that nominee.
That is definitely something we would never accept.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. So that's Mark Wayne Mullen talking. It was the approval or the hearing for the Surgeon General, Casey Means, which I don't know. I'd love to know what Hal thinks about her. That's Hal is Joni's husband. I'm not sure about her, even though I like some of her ideas. But that's him, Mark Wayne Mullen, saying to Bernie Sanders, you know, hey, you're part of the problem. You've been sitting here longer than I've been alive. What have you done?
I love that slap down.
I love that.
No, I just love that slap down. And here he just made some Bernie sitting there, old Bernie sitting there, makes a nasty comment, and he just went after him.
I know. It was great.
Calmly. I love the way he conducted himself. But speaking of nasty Bernie, I know that he's, for the poor. He's a socialist or communist. How does he have so much wealth?
Oh, I know. It's fine for him. But really, look at every example of communism. Okay, every example of communism, there's the oligarchy. He keeps talking about us. No, he's the oligarchy.
Oh,
he's the wealthy people, and then everybody else has nothing. Now, wasn't Macy Ruthledge amazing?
Yes.
Is that an amazing young woman?
Yes.
I mean, she is just one of those people that just light radiates from her. And this was not at all what she intended to be involved in. Okay? And it's just God pulling her in different directions. And she's just amazing. She's an amazing young lady. And the work she did with the Laken Riley family is amazing, too.
Yes. And I don't think people realize that, yes, we've lost this one American, but it reverberates in the family forever.
Well, and to the point I was making that for the last several weeks, you've got to think about what you can do in your own community. Yes, we're talking about Iran, we're talking about other things, but you really can't fix what's happening 5,000 miles from here. You got to kind of count on your leaders to do that. But you can do things like Macy's doing and try to help in your own neighborhood. You can do things in your neighborhood, in my neighborhood. You can make life better in your own circumstances, right? And that's what we need to focus on.
Right. I'm still focused on the fact that Trump said, what do you care about, Americans or the illegals? And they couldn't answer that.
They couldn't answer it. They couldn't answer it. Of course they couldn't, because they can't let him be right about anything. We'll be back.
It seems like every day we're upgrading our smart devices. When was the last time you updated your eyes? Hi, this is Kim at Advanced Eye Center. Dr. Ackerman and Dr. Evans have more than 35 years combined experience. See why we're voted best in Hall County. Choose custom all-laser LASIK or specialty lenses with laser cataract surgery. At Advanced Eye Center in Gainesville, we have a choice that is right for you. Advanced Eye Center, vision correction for all ages.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10 o'clock.
It's the most lethal, complex, and precise aerial operation in history. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what the War Secretary says about Operation Epic Fury in Iran.
Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel.
And Pete Hegseth in an update this morning says this is the goal.
Crazy regimes like Iran, hell-bent on prophetic Islamist delusions, cannot have nuclear weapons.
And the secretary says this won't be like Iraq or Afghanistan.
No nation-building quagmire, no democracy-building exercise, no politically correct wars. We fight to win, and we don't waste time.
Iran's supreme leader and more than 500 others in Iran have been killed so far. 4 American troops have also been killed in Iran's counterattacks, 4 wounded. And the military's chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says,
our deepest and heartfelt condolences are with their families, their friends, and their units.
We grieve with you, and we will never forget you.
General Dan Kane also warns of more casualties as he deploys additional U.S. forces, saying this operation will take time. 3 U.S. fighter jets were shot down mistakenly by Kuwait's air defenses, but all those on board survived, ejecting.
We're told the incident happened during combat, including attacks from Iranian aircraft, ballistic missiles and drones. Also in Kuwait today, smoke seen rising from the U.S. Embassy compound. Americans based there had been warned to take cover and others told to stay away.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. And as Israel also attacks Iran, some were shot down, but not all. The missiles Iran fired back, killing at least 9 people. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, at the site of one of the missile strikes, just said,
"You see the difference. The tyrants of Tehran target civilians. We target the tyrants of Tehran to protect civilians."
Hezbollah has also fired rockets from Lebanon, leading to a deadly Israeli retaliation. On Wall Street, there's a stock market sell-off as oil prices surge. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. A multi-vehicle wreck is behind the delays on Interstate 85 northbound this hour. During the height of rush hour between Hall and Jackson counties is when it started. Social media posts by West Jackson Fire Department indicated the 2 left lanes of I-85 were blocked at exit 127, State Route 211 after 8 a.m. due to multi-vehicle collision, and no word from local officials or Georgia State Patrol as of last report on what triggered the crash. Delays are reported on both roads by the ramps for the interstate since 9:30 this morning east of Mulberry toward Brazelton due to the cleanup efforts. Week 3 in the trial of Colin Gray, father of alleged Appalachia High School shooter Colt Gray, is getting underway in Barrow County Superior Court at this hour. Friday, Colin Gray was on the witness stand himself, alleging that he allowed his son Colt access to the firearm used in the shooting. Now, when asked by the prosecution, Colin claimed the gun used in the shooting was bought for Colt's use, but not his gun.
So this was not his Christmas present?
This was a part of his Christmas. This was not a "here is your gun."
That was after the prosecution had played a video of Colin calling the gun Colt's big Christmas present. Colin Gray faces 29 charges for allegedly allowing Colt access to that firearm that was used in the Appalachia High School shootings in September 2024. Another scam attempt being made by cyber criminals toward a Northeast Georgia community's residents. WDUN's Logan Landers with more.
Officials with the city of Dahlonega are warning residents that an email scam has been circulating, with some local residents claiming to receive the email from the city manager, Allison Martin, while using the address planning.dahlonega-gov@usa.com. Dahlonega City social media post says they will never use an @usa.com email address for any official correspondence, and tells residents to avoid opening such links from this email and report it to their official website or the city's official website.
And today is the deadline for applications to the City of Gainesville and North Georgia Community Foundation's annual scholarship program. Application process for the 2026 Gainesville Chicken Festival Scholarship are open until 5 p.m. today and available to high school students aspiring for a career in the poultry field. Details on the scholarship and more news can all be found at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN midday forecast.
Good Monday morning, North Georgia. Mostly cloudy skies continue. Highs later in the low 60s. We'll have more mostly cloudy skies tonight. There's just a slight chance of a rain shower. Mid-40s by early Tuesday. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Blairsville, 55 degrees, and Sugar Hill, 58, and in Gainesville, 57 degrees. From North Georgia's News Talk AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Matt Hayes here from Hayes Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Baldwin. Check out the new savings event here at Hayes. 2026 Chevy Trax for only $24,990. 2025 Chevy Suburbans for $11,000 off MSRP. Or best of all, a 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500, $10,000 off MSRP, including trades assistance rebate. Ask about our free lifetime powertrain warranty and come check out these deals and more at Hayes Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Baldwin.
Nobody wants to talk about septic services until there's a problem.
We're here to help. At SNS Septic, we are here 24 hours a day to help when you need us.
As a fourth-generation business, we know that SNS Septic is the one to call for pumping, repairs, installations, and more. We cover residential, commercial, and government projects. If you have septic or plumbing problems, call us.
That's right. You can find us on the web at septicga.com.
Call SNS Septic today to set up an inspection of your system and have everything taken care of before it all hits the fan.
talking about the issues that affect you most. It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. Now from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and look, there's a lot of stuff happening in the world, but you also have to take care of your own backyard. And this is something you're going to hear this from me a lot over the next few months. Because it's important that you take care of what's going on in your own backyard. We can have opinions, Joni, and we can understand about what's going on around the world, but we have very little control over that.
Correct.
What you do have control over is what you do right here in your own backyard. And joining me right now is I'm sorry, I'm getting the name wrong, Lynn Durham from the Georgia Colorectal Roundtable, and they're going to have one in Gainesville that's going to be today from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you guys are just starting, aren't you, Lynn?
We are, yes. We are at Northeast Georgia Health System, and we are just starting, yes.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit how important this is, because I got to tell you, it seems to me that colorectal cancer is increasing, especially among young people. And I think there's a lot we need to know about.
Yes, ma'am. You are absolutely right. It is increasing amongst young people. So colorectal cancer is the leading cancer killer of people under 50 years of age. We statisticians expected that to happen in 2030. Well, it's already happened. And we don't really know why. We don't know what's causing the big uptick in younger people, but we just all know people in their 30s and 40s who have been diagnosed, and of course, going older than that as well. But we want to make sure people understand the signs and symptoms so they know if it is happening to them, they immediately go to their doctor, they get a colonoscopy, they get it checked. Or if they're 45 and older, they're of screening age. So even if they have no symptoms whatsoever, they need to go get screened to make sure that they don't have polyps or precancerous lesions or cancer itself.
Hey, Lynn, I have a question. This is Joni. Have the guidelines changed in the last few years for what age to be screened?
They have gone down to 45. So that happened about 3 years ago, Joni. And so now it's a matter of getting all those people educated because it was 50 and most people thought, okay, I have to do this at 50. Now it's 45. And honestly, the major groups are looking at making that even lower because of the just increased incidence in people 40 and up. But right now, it is 45 years old for screening.
So, Lynn, I'm a mom who raised her kids in the 90s. Okay. And I'm seeing this my daughter has gut problems. You know, she's 34. She's already having colonoscopies.
Wow.
And thankfully they haven't found anything, but she had some issues to where they felt like they should start doing them. And hey, we're all good for that. My husband's a primary care physician. She's talked with him about that. But we have a lot of people we know whose children, that were in their late 20s, early 30s. One of my friend's daughters passed away at 29 years old of colorectal cancer because she thought she was just having, irritable bowel and didn't, really follow up. And I think as a mom who really tried to, I was a pretty much cook from scratch mom, but I'm not saying that I didn't do things like toaster strudels and other kinds of processed food.
Sure.
And, as we're learning now, I don't really know what I think about Robert Kennedy Jr., and I'm not asking you about him, but if he cleans up our food supply, then I think that will be a huge positive. Because when I learned that some of these food additives were like petroleum based and some of the colors were I'm thinking, why in the world would anybody think that was a good thing to put in food? And we're so trusting when we go and buy food. I think it had a lot to do with what was in the food, but that's just me.
No, I think that's what scientists are looking at, and I think you're probably right. We don't have the evidence to back that up yet, but I think all these ultra-processed foods. I raised my kids, in the 2000s, and I was a kid of the 80s, and I know my mom gave us all sorts of junk, and so I think it is absolutely coming to bear that a lot of these processed foods, we tell people, cut down your processed meats that you eat. Don't mean never eat it again. I'm not saying that at all. But, if you have bacon, have it once or twice a week. Don't have it every day. If you're having red meat, have it once or twice a week, not every day. There's certain foods that we know, kind of propel the colon cancer forward. And so we just want people to be mindful of that. And I agree. If we can clean up some of this ultra-processed food that we are just so used to in this country. There's so many European countries that will not allow some of the additives that we allow in our food. And so we just need to make sure we clean that up as much as possible, or people make really good choices about what they're going to eat and eat the bad stuff in moderation, not every day.
I mean, that's exactly, I'm glad you mentioned about the European food makers, because they have many of the same producers that we use here. And so we know they know how to do it. They can produce the food without the additives because they're already doing it for many of the European countries, especially the big brands, the big brands that we're all used to. And I will tell you, my husband and I have been traveling more, and when we're in the UK or France or whatever, we don't have the same kind of problems. And my daughter, when she's traveled with us, didn't have the same kind of problems. And so I know that's anecdotal, it's not scientific, but it's kind of hard to deny. Now, you're going to be, this is a hard topic to talk about, right? And I love that you've got this roundtable going on today, because you're going to talk about some of these tough topics.
Yep, absolutely. We do not shy away from talking about it, and we are very basic with our language. We talk about poop, we talk about polyps, we talk about all these things that people do not like to talk about. But we need to understand that when there are changes in your poop, or changes in your, the way you're digesting food, that could be an issue. And so we need to talk about that. So this colorectal cancer roundtable brings people from all over Georgia. It's not just people in the northeast part of our state, but all over, to come together for a day to really talk about what is Georgia doing to increase cancer screening, to make sure those who are old enough are getting screened, and then also to educate people about the signs and symptoms. So if you are not of age, you know what those are, and you immediately go to your doctor if you're having those symptoms.
So, Lynn, let me ask you a question. This is Joni. What is your opinion of Cologuard? Because it's so much easier and you don't have to do the clean out.
Yeah, exactly. We always say, unless you're high risk, if you have a family history, then you need to do a colonoscopy. But if you are not high risk, then a Cologuard is great. Do that. Do it at home. Get the prescription for your doctor. Do it at home. That's going to show either blood in your stool or the DNA that could be cancer in your stool. And so we want to make sure whatever test gets done is the best test. We want people to do something. And a Cologuard actually is I think it's about between 93 and 97% accurate. So it's very accurate. And it also is very easy to do in your own home, and you don't have to go under. Although I have to say, I've had 3 colonoscopies in my life, and it's not bad. I don't want people to think it's an
I
awful
love
process.
the drugs. I look forward to the drugs. I mean, I hate to admit that, but I mean, it's really good. My husband is like so proud of the fact he tries to do it without doing any of the drugs, and I'm like, no, this is like great.
No.
This is great. You get it. You feel good. You go right to sleep, and there's no half-life on it. You don't feel groggy at all. It's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You wake up and you're like, oh, all right, that was it. That was lovely. So, no, I have no problem with it either.
No. And it's funny. I had a heart attack on February the 5th, and I'm doing great. I came back to work last week, and I had a colonoscopy scheduled for February the 17th. So, of course, I had to reschedule that. I was one of those people that had it, and I had like 3 polyps, so they wanted to do it a little sooner the next time. And so we're at 3 years and like 3 months. And I'm taking blood thinners now, so it changes the way they're going to approach my colonoscopy. But he wanted to wait 3 more months before we did this, just because of that. So you always have to communicate with your doctors about all your stuff, because they want to get it right. And if you're the best tool in any kind of diagnosis is your medical history. And folks, don't be afraid, because these are hard topics to talk about. Don't be afraid to talk about them, because it is a life and death difference.
It is, absolutely. Finding those polyps, what they did with you, they took those precancerous or not cancerous at all polyps out of your colon, and then that didn't develop into cancer. And so that's what the great thing about a colonoscopy is you get in there, the doctor can snip anything out right there, and that stops cancer from happening. And so absolutely, I think people have to be a little bit more comfortable with talking about these things, especially to their doctor, and also talk to their family about their family history, not just colon cancer, but all cancers. If you know your great aunt had, breast cancer, or your uncle had, prostate cancer, you need to know those things so your doctor can know what to look for.
Absolutely. Lynn Durham, anything else we need to know about what's happening today?
No, just thank you for having me on, and really just encourage people, like you said, take care of your own health. Be an advocate for yourself and go in there and make sure you're getting the screenings that you should get for cancer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more.
It's knowledge you won't find anywhere else.
If you walk out of your home on a July day and you can see your breath, you probably didn't brush.
It's Mornings on Main Street with Bill Main. Weekdays on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Building, moving, remodeling, they all create more waste than will fit in your average garbage can. Thank goodness for Waste Eliminator. They offer roll-off dumpsters in all sizes. Just visit wasteeliminator.com, click on Order Dumpster, and they'll deliver just what you need. From simple home cleanout to large commercial projects, Waste Eliminator handles it all. Schedule your roll-off dumpster today at wasteeliminator.com. Environmentally responsible and committed to customer service. It's Waste Eliminator.
Spring is knocking, and that lawn is not going to cut itself. Get ready to mow smarter with Exmark mowers from Howard Brothers. With Exmark, you get durability, precision, and performance you can count on season after season. And at Howard Brothers, they've got the expert advice, trusted service, and equipment that works as hard as you do. Stop by Howard Brothers today or visit howardbrothers.com and power your spring with an Exmark mower.
United We Run for those struggling to make ends meet. Join us Saturday, March 21st at 9 a.m. as we race through Phase 2 of the scenic Highlands to Islands Trail. This event features a 5K and 1 mile fun run with every step supporting United Way of Hall County's One Hall United Against Poverty initiative. Make an even bigger impact by becoming a sponsor. For more information and to register, log on to unitedwayhallcounty.org/race.
Spring is calling. Are you ready to grow? At Full Bloom Nursery, we're kicking off the spring season with 5 acres of perennial shrubs and trees, all ready for your next outdoor project. This is Julie. I'd like to invite you to come experience the difference of a true nursery. Take a stroll through our display gardens and let our knowledgeable staff help you choose the perfect plant for your space. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and Saturday from 9 to 2. Learn more at fullbloomnursery.com and follow us on Facebook to see what's growing.
Something new is coming to your neighborhood. This April, Exchange Bank is opening in Brazelton. I'm Anna Hollis, and for over 122 years, we've been Middle Georgia's community bank, offering our personalized service and our commitment to being a place where community matters. Now we're bringing that same commitment to Brazelton. We can't wait to be your neighbor and help your financial dreams grow. Learn more at exch.bank. Exchange Bank, member FDIC.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, Dahlonega residents are warned to avoid an email scam claiming to be from the city manager's office. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
The Iranian people, what are you hearing from them tonight? We know they're celebrating. What's the feeling?
It's an incredible dissonance that they had to choose war over a regime, but they were willing to do it. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, Benjamin Netanyahu. Thank you, America. It's not death to America after they killed the leader. The Americans and the Israelis did it. It's not death to Israel and death to America. It's thank you. It's a new day dawning, but very early days. very, very early days. So we'll have to see what comes. But it's the Iranian people that have been telling me over and over and over again, we want this. We're not regimists. We're not Islamic. I don't even say, oh my God, to my Iranian friends because they don't want God to be any part of this.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. I'm here with Joni Alpert, and we got a couple of text messages in. Don said, "Morning, Martha. I want to give credit to Trump and his policies on foreign affairs. Epic fury is awesome. God bless America, and God bless Iran." And then Abigail said, "I'm loving hearing you and Joni on air this morning, and most mornings. It's making me extra excited for Friday's luncheon. I love that you had Macy Ruthledge on just now. She hired Zach to help with the Run for Your Life. I'm planning to reach out to her later today." Now, Abigail is married to Zach, who runs this fantastic company called that manages these 5K runs. I should know what the name of his company is. I'm sorry. Abigail. But Joni and I and Monica Pearson are going to be at a luncheon on Friday for Women's Source, and we're very excited about that. And, it's going to be fantastic. We're going to have Monica and Joni.
Martha, I cannot wait. How
I know.
exciting
it's gonna
is
be
that?
Fun. So I was Monica's intern when I was 19.
I did not know that.
So I remember I went to the University of Georgia, and one of the big internships that you could get was with WSB Television.
That was huge.
Okay. And so I remember it got down to 3 finalists, me and 2 other people, and they brought us down to Channel 2 and had a lunch interview, and they served sandwiches. Okay. And so, you know how you bite into the sandwich and the bread gets stuck on the top of your mouth? And I'm like 19, and I'm trying to figure out, how do I do this without creating a problem? Discreetly, that's right. So I won that internship. I was chosen for that internship. I got to work in all the different departments in WSB Television sales and all of that. But of course, I loved the newsroom, and that's where I met Monica because I worked nights, and I also met Jocelyn Dorsey during that period of time. Lynn Harrison. I mean, all the people that were big in the late 70s. And Monica and I have stayed in contact throughout all those years. She's always been like my biggest cheerleader in being able to do things. And she's been fantastic. You know, I really enjoyed it very much.
She really is amazing. And I had the good fortune of working with Monica. I worked with Clark Howard for 17 years, and I would pick the television stories to kick up to television, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
she's great, and I still always call her Monica Kaufman, but she is Monica Pearson and has been there for a long time.
Can't get that right.
I know, and when I was working there, Wes Sargentson was with her on the news and was for many years. But Wes was a redheaded, ruddy, complected, very fair man, and Monica, of course, was the first black anchor in Atlanta, and she had darker skin, and so lighting is very difficult. Anyway, on a television area.
Right.
But you see, when you have to light someone that's that white and black at the same time, at that time, they spent $100,000. This was in 1979 to get the lighting right so that they both would look good. Because either Wes would look good and Monica would look bad, or Monica would look good and Wes would look bad. And so they had to bring in this special lighting expert, which was a cool story. And I got to be the floor director. It was great. Let's go to the phones now and talk to Robert in Gainesville. Hey, Robert, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Martha. I just thought I'd add a little optimism note to your program, which has already been optimistic, of course. But the thing we're watching now in the world is a transition from an old era into a new era. And we really have to catch up with God, because he is doing great things. When you see the 3 great events that the military has done without a problem, it's amazing. And the thing that's happening in Iran today is really an awakening. I was amazed to see how the people are in the streets now. They're just itching for the truth. They want to know the truth. And the regime has been a continuation of a stronghold that have been there since it was the time in history when it was called Persia. It's been around that long. But this is truly a breakthrough, because this time it's not so much a man's ability to break free from the oppression, but it's God's intervention. And I think you're going to see this in North Korea. I think when Iran becomes free, and when you see the joy of the people, and the fact that they are coming into Jesus Christ instead of the other religion, you're going to see that the people in Korea are going to want to know the truth, and they're going to break free from that somehow. God's going to break them free, and all of Asia is going to be eventually free from communism, because the people want to know the truth. It's in the heart of man to want to know the absolute truth.
Absolute. And I think it's, thanks for your call today, Robert. I mean, that was something that President Bush said, is that even if you've never known freedom, in your soul you yearn to be free. You know if you don't have it. You know what I mean? Even if you've never known freedom. So I think it is an important time. We are kind of in this the post-World War II era is coming to an end, and we've got to get back on track. And I think what President Trump has done, where he has said, we're not going to try to change you as far as your religion is concerned. We're not going to try. What we want is for you to have peace and prosperity. And that's not what Russia and China want, which I see as the two big enemies in the world, or behind, kind of the big enemies. That's not what they want.
No, that's not what they want. But do you think they're looking very carefully at what is going on?
Oh, yeah. That's
now?
Why they've been very quiet through this whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't hear a pin drop. They're just watching to see.
I'm just so happy about how we are focusing on foreign policy that affects our hemisphere more. And granted, again, people say, what's the reason of the Middle East? And, oil, evil oil. Well, partially it is oil, because if there's unrest in the Middle East, or if there's countries like Iran that are selling oil to our enemies, we need to get that back on track again. And, right now, our economy runs on oil-based product. I love an all-in policy, but right now we've got to protect that, and that's not a bad thing. We'll be talking, I hope, to Steve Moore, because we're going to see what's happening with the economy. I did talk with him, and he said he was going to be available, so we'll see what happens right here on the Martha Zoller Show.
This is Grant Nichols, and at Loretta's Country Kitchen, we know life can really pile up. There's work, getting the kids to practice, and shopping. With all that, the week can really wear you out. The last thing you want to do is spend Saturday in the kitchen. Not to worry, we've just added lunch and dinner to our Saturday lineup at Loretta's. That's right, not only are we open for breakfast on Saturdays, but we're also serving up lunch from 11 till 2 and dinner from 4:30 until 8. Give your kitchen and your family a break with breakfast, lunch, and dinner Saturdays at Loretta's Country Kitchen, Mundy Mill Road, Oakwood, where it's all good.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Get breaking news fast. Sign up at accesswdun.com for breaking news alerts via text. Log on to accesswdun.com for details and to sign up. You can also sign up to receive local weather and sports alerts. Get the news first with breaking news text alerts from Access WDUN and North Georgia's News Talk. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10:30.
Fox News, I'm CJ Pappas. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth honoring those who paid the ultimate price.
A grateful nation honors the 4 Americans we have lost thus far and those injured.
the absolute best of America.
The Pentagon just wrapped up its first briefing. President Trump gave the go-ahead orders at 3:38 p.m. Friday afternoon. This is what we heard from General Kane. He said that 1,000 targets inside Iran have been struck by American forces since this operation started.
That's Fox's Lucas Tomlinson in Istanbul. President Trump spoke to Fox's Brett Baer, saying the operation is going great, better than expected. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
You see the difference. The tyrants of Tehran target civilians. We target the tyrants of Tehran to protect civilians.
America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow, and the parents of a Hall County elementary school student found with a handgun on campus last week are now facing reckless conduct charges. Hall County Sheriff's Office says in a release today that 31-year-olds Heather Thuy Rodriguez and Christian Ruben Rodriguez Martinez of Gainesville were both arrested and later released on bond for the misdemeanor charge after learning the couple's child took the weapon from the family's vehicle console on Wednesday, February 25th. The child then kept the gun to show a friend at Myers Elementary School the next morning. The friend immediately informed school officials, who then searched the unidentified boy, confiscated the firearm, and alerted law enforcement. No injuries were reported. Another scam attempt being made by cyber criminals toward a Northeast Georgia community. WDUN's Logan Landers with details.
Officials with the city of Dahlonega are warning residents that an email scam has been circulating, with some local residents claiming to receive the email from the city manager, Allison Martin, while using the address planning.dahlonega-gov at USA.com. Dahlonega City social media post says they will never use an at USA.com email address for any official correspondence, and tells residents to avoid opening such links from this email.
And a multiple vehicle wreck behind delays along I-85 North this morning, heading in the rush hour between Hall and Jackson counties. Details at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
Good Monday morning, North Georgia. Mostly cloudy skies continue. Highs later in the low 60s. We'll have more mostly cloudy skies tonight. There's just a slight chance of a rain shower. Mid-40s by early Tuesday. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Clayton, 55 degrees. In Tequila and Gainesville, 58. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
There are two kinds of agents, the hobbyist and the professional. Today's market demands agents who are on top of their game, more than just the latest technology. It's being knee-deep in this market, and our agents understand the ever-changing rules of buying and selling real estate, helping families with their real estate needs, and remain committed to you in today's confusing market. Norton, now more than ever. I'm Tommy Howard with the Norton Agency. Call us at 770-532-0022 or look for us on the web at gonorton.com. Our family serving North Georgia for 4 generations.
Matt Hayes here from Hayes Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Baldwin with some serious savings on the great lineup of vehicles here at Hayes. And just to name a few, $6,500 off 26 Chrysler Pacificas, $9,000 off 25 Dodge Durangos, and $11,000 off 25 Jeep Wranglers. And trucks, well, we got the trucks. $10,000 off MSRP on 26 Ram 1500 Bighorns, and $13,000 off MSRP on 25 model Ram 2500 HD trucks. Refresh your driveway with one of these new deals from Hayes of Baldwin. And hey, ask about our free lifetime powertrain warranty.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical, from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
I have one word only. I advise to the representative of the United States to be polite. It will be better for yourself and the country you represent. Thank you.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. That was the ridiculous Iranian representative at the UN saying that the Israeli ambassador should be nice to him. It's like so crazy. I just couldn't. I mean, that was just amazing. Steve Moore's here with us today. He is an expert on the economy. He has a wonderful newsletter called Unleash Prosperity. And if you want to know about capitalism and get the best stories on capitalism, you should get it every day like I do. But Steve, a lot's happened in the last 3 days, and the markets are a little jittery today, and gas prices are a little bit jittery today. But what are your thoughts on where we are?
Well, first of all, I'm relieved that there has not been a big market reaction. The Dow is down 1% last time I checked about an hour ago, so there has not been a freak out about the situation in the Middle East, so that's a relief. The oil price has risen to about $72 a barrel. That's about a 15 or 20% increase, and so hopefully it won't rise more than that, or else we'll be paying more. It's now up to $3 a gallon nationally as a result of the the supply problems in the Middle East. So it looks to me like, with respect to the economic impact so far, it's been pretty minor. And so one thing that is important for people to realize is that thank God we've been drilling for our own energy here in America, because these kind of events flare up in the Middle East, seems like every 5 years or so, and the less dependent we are on the Middle East for oil, the better for our national security and for our economy.
So would you consider yourself America first?
Sorry?
Do you consider yourself America first policy-wise?
Of course I am.
Yeah.
Every decision we make should be America first.
Absolutely. And so I just wondered what you thought, because you have a wide variety of people that you talk to. I have a wide variety. Joni does too, that's here with us today. I mean, I'm hearing, most people are in support of what we did that I talked to. But I have a few people that think this doesn't seem like America first. And I think they're equating it to Iraq, and they don't want a, quote, forever war. I think this is more like Venezuela, where it might be a couple of weeks, maybe a month, but it's not going to be boots on the ground.
I'm very mixed on this. I am an America firster, and I do not believe, I've always believed that the United States should not be the world's policeman. So, on the other hand, these are really bad guys in Iran, and they were killing tens and tens of thousands of their own people. So I view this as almost as a humanitarian mission. I'm not an expert on the Middle East. I bet you know a lot more about it than I do. But, look, so, we've probably saved a lot of lives by doing this. On the other hand, what worries me is I don't want this to be a quagmire.
Yes.
Yes. I don't want us to be there for a long time. And so that's my very humble view of this. Again, I'm not an expert on the Middle East. I'm not a foreign policy guy. I'm an economist. But, I don't want the United States to have, a long-time presence in the Middle East.
I mean, the good news is these other Arab countries are stepping up, and
yes, yep.
And I think that's positive. And I really think this all stems from the speech that President Trump made at the big Saudi meeting, economic meeting that happened last June, not June, the June before that, where he said, he said, we want peace and prosperity, and we want to do business with you. And I think that sort of changed the way things were looking. And you're right. You're an economist. You're not, a foreign policy guy. And I am starting to see, mortgages went below 6% for the first time in several years. We're starting to see home prices come down a little bit. We are, inflation, it was probably an overpromise to say we could reduce prices, because prices aren't going to come down unless the economy collapses. Okay, so what you want to do is stop them going up so fast, and right. We're starting to see some progress on that too.
Yes.
We're starting to see some progress on wages. So I'm feeling a little better about. I mean, the economy's been great for me. I'm a boomer that's close to retirement, and I have to acknowledge it's really good for me. But say for my 35-year-old daughter and her husband, it's a little tougher.
Yeah. Well, that's absolutely true, and I'm in the same situation you are. I just turned 66 last week.
Yep. Oh, so, well, we're in the same ballpark. I love it.
So, and look, the value of our home, we bought our home, about 6 years ago, it's practically doubled in value. So that's an asset for us. So for me, I'm like you. For me, it's great. For my kids who are trying to buy a house, it's not so great. But on the other hand, I'm going to die at some point, and guess who's going to get this house when I die? Probably my kids. But look, I'm bullish on the U.S. economy. I think things are headed definitely in the right direction. This latest event in the Middle East is a curveball that we just don't know, what the impact of this will be. But look, all the major economic signs are pointing in the right direction. But you're right, prices. Inflation rate has come down to about 2%, which is right about the Fed target. We've got incomes rising faster than inflation, which means people have more purchasing power and more affordability. Thank God we're producing more oil and gas than ever before. So that cushions us from the impact of these events in the Middle East. And look, I was just on Fox News earlier today, and I made this point that, and I'm not one who's for military adventurism, but on the other hand, you've got some really bad people who are oppressing their own people. And so we got rid of Maduro in Venezuela. 30 million people have been liberated because of that. And then you've got what's going on in hopefully in Iran, where we've made our surgical strike. We've taken out their bad actors, and now I'd like to see us pull out and just say, okay, you're gone. And then what about Cuba? Cuba could be, one of the richest places on the planet if they move towards free markets. And we could potentially, not through military force, but just force out, the Castros and put somebody in who's free market. So my point of saying this is that Trump is trying to spread prosperity and freedom around the world, and that might be his legacy.
Yeah, and I think the challenge is how he communicates that at home, because there's a lot of people out there that say, I don't really care what's going on in X, Y, or Z. I just want to be able to go to the grocery store and afford what I need.
Look,
and I know that's
that is America first.
Yeah,
and I'm one of those people. Look, I don't want America involved in every kind of situation all over the world. I don't. Our role is to lead by example and let other people around the world look at what's happening in the United States and seeing our prosperity, seeing what's going on with our growth and our economy, and say, hey, we want that in our country.
Yes. And I hope that it will get that way. And I really would like to see, with the speech that Marco Rubio made about Western culture a couple of weeks ago, and you're starting to see European countries talk more about how important their history is. And I feel good about the direction we're going in right now. And I think it's going to use a Reagan term, trickle down. So it'll be good. Listen, Steve Moore.
Well, I don't want it to trickle down. I want it to pour down.
That's right. Thank you, Steve, for being with us today. And I appreciate your friendship. Thank you.
Have a good week. Take care. Bye.
We'll take a break and lots more to come.
It's your daily civics lesson.
If it's mentioned in the Constitution, the feds have final say over it, and immigration is one of those things mentioned in the Constitution.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, weekdays at 9 on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Rise and shine with M&R Equipment and Rental. Your project success is our first job of the day. Whether it's landscaping, construction, or home renovation, we've got your back with our wide range of high-quality tools and equipment. We make starting your day easy. Simply pick your tool, choose your rental period, and get down to business. No job is too big or small. From saws to skid steers, we've got you covered and at prices that won't break your budget. Visit us at mnrrental.com. We're here to help you build a brighter tomorrow.
Looking for the right tools, equipment, and expert advice for your next project? Head over to Howard Brothers. They're the best one-stop shop for outdoor projects. With locations across North Georgia and a team that's always ready to serve, let Howard Brothers be your go-to for outdoor power, service, hardware, and more. Stop by today or visit howardbrothers.com. The grass is always greener and projects always easier when you take care of it with Howard Brothers.
Spring is calling. Are you ready to grow? At Full Bloom Nursery, we're kicking off the spring season with 5 acres of perennial shrubs and trees, all ready for your next outdoor project. This is Julie. I'd like to invite you to come experience the difference of a true nursery. Take a stroll through our display gardens and let our knowledgeable staff help you choose the perfect plant for your space. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and Saturday from 9 to 2. Learn more at fullbloomnursery.com and follow us on Facebook to see what's growing.
Has being aimless ever put you at your wit's end? Hi, this is Whit Martin, pastor of Asbury Chapel. There are times in life when we feel aimless, living like we're just wandering through each day and wondering what it is that we should be doing. It's a feeling that means we're searching for purpose, like there's something we know we should put our hands to. The Bible says in Ephesians 2:10, "For we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand, that we should walk in them." Christians find their purpose in the work of God. God has created us to do works that are good in His eyes, and such work rescues us from an aimless and wandering life. We can have confidence about what to do if we put our hands to the work God is doing. If we will search the Scriptures and learn the ways of God, we'll always be able to engage the work of God, driven with purpose and peace about who we are and what we should do. And that is Wit's End. Asbury Chapel invites you to learn more by joining us at 758 Main Street or visit asburychapel.net for more info.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, Gainesville's Lakeview Academy is preparing to take on a new lower school director to start the next school year. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
How do you square the no war promise with the potential of a protracted war?
Well, first of all, the president has consistently, over the course of his entire public life, said he will never permit the Iranian regime to have a nuclear weapon. That's why he took action last summer, and that's part of the reason he took action today. So I don't see this as him starting a war. I see this as a preventative measure to prevent a war against the largest state sponsor of terror in the world. My view is this is a new day for the people of Iran. It's a new day for the Middle East, and it's a new day for the world because the most courageous commander-in-chief of my lifetime said, I'm not putting up with this. We've been banging our head against a wall for 47 years while these guys terrorize the world, and I'm not going to permit it any longer. So when I see these Iranian people in LA and other places celebrating, I can only imagine their emotions and the emotions of the people in Iran who now have a chance to take back their country and restore what was once a great pro-Western country. That's the end goal here. No more war, but peace and a government and a culture in Iran that can actually participate with the rest of the world instead of terrorize it. That's what the president did. He ought to be commended for it.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. I'm here with Joni Alpert, and tomorrow the president or the president's administration is going to be making presentations to both the House and the Senate. They did call the Gang of Eight ahead of time, which are the 4 Democrats and 4 Republicans that are the ranking intelligence folks. I know that's an oxymoron for some of those people, but the ranking intelligence folks they let them know about everything ahead of time. Marco Rubio did move Iran into this category to where the president could take action because they were an imminent threat. And the reason why they were an imminent threat, which nobody's talking much about, is that they saw movement to try to rebuild some of the nuclear sites, even though they'd been blown up in June. Now, I'm waiting for the Democrats to come out with a question. Well, we thought you said you'd gotten it all in June. Why do they have to worry about it now?
They've already said exactly that.
Yes.
They've already said exactly that. And our President Trump is doing exactly what he said, which is peace through strength.
Yeah.
And they don't like that.
Yeah, and I think that also I'm kind of excited, and I have some friends of mine that are Iranian Jews, and they had to leave at the time of the overthrow, and one of them actually was in college out of the country at the time it happened, but the rest of them had to leave and go to other places, and they're Persians, and these kind of, I don't want to say high class, but I'll use that term, high class folks from Iran, because they will never say they're Iranian. They will say they are Persian, because there is a great love and understanding of the Persian empire, if you will, okay, and the things that they gave to society over time. And so I think that I think Van Jones is right, which we played right at the beginning of the program. Van Jones is right that we need to unleash the Persian people back onto the world.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot more Persian people here in the U.S. now than people realize. Not sure why that is.
So, Logan, will you pull up that first piece of audio and let me know when you have it ready? Because I want to replay it just because this is Van Jones, who is really right on these issues. And also, we need to acknowledge the people that we have great discussions. This is what I love about Mark Halperin. He has great discussions with all kinds of people that can understand, I might agree with you on this, but disagree with you on that. But it doesn't mean we can't have a reasonable conversation. Here's Van Jones.
If you like peace, and if you like democracy, and if you like women being free, and if you like innovation, unleash these Persians. Well, I mean, I think what's happening in Iran may be the most important thing happening in the world. You're going to unleash 90 million people who come from one of the most creative, imaginative, and regal cultures in the history of the world, which could help all humanity tomorrow instantly. It's worth the fight to get them free. A lot of stuff you were dealing with today, they invented. And so they just had a lid on their head for half of a century. And so I think a freed up Persian culture can be incredible for technology, can be incredible for humanity, can be incredible for the arts. It could be the end of a lot of BS in the region. You need a free Iranian people. You need the Persians back on the map. For this century to work out well. People don't even.
And I love this because Van Jones is a very thoughtful guy. I mean, back in the Tea Party days, I had one of my greatest moments where I got to speak on the steps of the Capitol, looking down the mall, and I was criticizing Van Jones at the time. And I would love to have him on the program because he's right on Israel. He's right on Iran. He was with us. You know, I disagree with him on a lot of things, but I can respect him for the things we agree with.
Very smart guy.
Very smart guy.
And I like the way he articulates.
Yes, because the Persian people, like the Jews that lived in Judea for all of those thousands of years, were creators. They were the people that developed mathematics. They were the people that developed architecture. They were the people that developed many of the great things in our society that we look to today as being art. I mean, they were the ones that brought it in many ways to Europe when they took over during, the Ottoman Empire and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I just think that we've got to look past our own little terminology. I mean, I watched enough interviews of young people calling us fascists. They don't know what fascism is. If we were fascists, they wouldn't be standing in Times Square with their little sign about Iran bashing America if Donald Trump was a fascist.
It's interesting. I watched different channels because when this occurred, I wanted different points of view.
Yeah, me too.
And the amazing thing is whatever the Rachel Maddow show, she's screaming that we're trying to kill everyone. She's just awful. Like, is she crazy?
I rarely ever watch her. I will flip over. If I want to see what MSNBC is or MS Now is saying, I kind of look at the Joe Scarborough show. I don't like any of the nighttime shows. And I'll be honest with you, I will watch on Fox, I will watch The Five, and I will watch Bret Baier because he's an actual news show.
Right.
Bret gets the good interviews. The next day, I will watch the clips from Gutfeld. I can't stay up that late, so I'll watch the clips
My
from
hero.
Gutfeld.
Love Greg.
He's great.
Genius.
And it's
and
funny because I met him in 2004 at the RNC in a bar. Him and James Rosen. James Rosen is a great. He's written some great books, and he's now with Newsmax. But he was the first journalist that got exposed that Obama was wiretapping. Okay, James Rosen was. He used to be with Fox News for years and years, and that's kind of what Newsmax is. All the used to be Fox News people are at Newsmax now. But I met Greg and James at this bar that was just full up in 2004 for the convention because there were protesters going down the street. And so you had to go into whatever bar there was because you had to wait for them to get through because it was like a sea of people with their signs about, it's so funny how the liberals do things. And they still do it this way. It's like they write a book on a sign. And then, you can't read it. You don't know what they're saying. It would have been a lot better if they just said, "We hate Bush." And that would have been the same as the whole thing they wrote out about, how he was a war criminal and all the kind of stuff. We had this one guy come in to the place that had one of those signs. He was one of the liberals that had gotten out. And he was, of course, a Columbia University professor. I mean, this was 20 years ago, but it was still that stereotype. He was a Columbia University. And so I sat down and talked to him. And I got one of those, "You're really nice for a conservative." If I had a nickel for every time I've been told that, I said, "But I don't understand. What is the problem here? Why do you have to write this book on a sign when the president is just trying to do the right thing?"
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Gee.
That surprises me.
It is surprised me. Well, my surprise, they have so much on the sign, and I'm wondering what's happening with George Soros and how many signs is he going to provide about this war?
Yeah, Alex Soros now.
Oh.
George Soros is done. I mean, he's got dementia. He's not involved anymore. All that's Alex Soros, who married Huma Abedin.
But why does he hate the country so much?
I don't know. And Alex actually was raised here. I mean, his father was an immigrant. But Alex was born and raised here, and I just don't, and he lives the fantastical American life of, from his gated community or his, his car that drives him everywhere and all the things. But you hate America.
Yes,
I don't understand
exactly. He hates America.
And you know what it is? It isn't even as much hate America. He hates people that aren't cool like him. And I'm saying quote marks, cool like him. Because he thinks that the average American really doesn't deserve the right to vote because they're too dumb to vote. And he doesn't like, I always, my husband, I jokingly say, is the best educated redneck you'll ever meet. Because you know what? There's something to being a redneck. And come the revolution, I want a bunch of rednecks helping me out.
That's funny. So you think he wants someone cool? So you think Alex wants someone cool like Mamdani?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
he thinks that's great. And Mamdani and AOC did a Spanish commercial.
I saw that.
I know, it's so crazy. So anyway, lots more to come. We're going to keep you updated every day. I'll be back tomorrow, and we're always here, always local.